Auckland City Council recently implemented new regulations to reduce alcohol-related harm by limiting the hours of sale. As of December 9th last year, bottle stores and supermarkets and anywhere that sold alcohol are now prohibited from selling alcohol after 9 p.m. Bars and restaurants can continue alcohol sales until 4 in the morning in the city centre and 3 a.m. outside that, provided their licences permit these hours. The council plans to monitor the policy's impact over the next year to assess its effectiveness in curbing alcohol-related harm across Auckland. I said at the time it was like using a sledgehammer to split a peanut. I said it's archaic in the 21st century and it will not stop those that abuse alcohol. And I warned it was coming to a city near you. Well, just 4 short months later, and Christchurch City Council is proposing a new plan that would also stop alcohol sales from bottle stores and supermarkets after that magical hour of 9 p.m. Again, the idea is to curb alcohol-related harm in the city. Currently, their hours for alcohol sales, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. In addition to the 9 p.m. cut-off, the proposals suggest a freeze on outlets in deprived areas and restrictions on new bottle shops, taverns and nightclubs near schools and addiction services. The Mayor, Phil Major, is backing the proposal and believes it's worth considering, saying nothing good happens after 9 o'clock when you're out buying grog. Love the word grog. I thought the saying used to be nothing good happens after midnight. We've moved it to 9 o'clock. He also highlighted the importance of consulting with the public and the fellow councillors before making a final decision. He said the goal is to strike a balance between public health and local businesses. However, in a recent public survey, 53% supported the 9 p.m. ban, while 36% were opposed. 36% showing a fairly kind of divided opinion, I suppose. Well, look, joining me now is Horswell Ward Councillor Andrei Moore. Hello, Andrei.
But good to be with you again.
It is good to talk to you again. Now, I think the last time we spoke, we were talking homegrown and the fact that you've gone every year for years and years and years. And you went to the last one, I gather, the very last one this year.
It was just absolutely phenomenal once again. It's going to be sorely missed. I don't know how they replicate that somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. No, you haven't got any inside word it's coming to Christchurch, maybe?
Well, I understand it's been put out for bids from different parts of the country, so I don't know who's bidding. But all I know is that if we don't get it here, we should be looking to develop our own local music festival.
Yeah. Well, you've already got, what's that other big one, the biggest one you've got there?
Well, we've got the biggest festival in Australasia now, Electric Avenue.
Yeah. You want to? Why not get another one? Good one. Andrei, we're sorry. I'm taking you into the weeds here.
That stuff I love. It's all good.
I know. Does Christchurch have a drinking problem?
Well, most places have got a drinking problem, but I'm not necessarily convinced that closing bars and whatnot is going to fix the issue. And I'm not necessarily convinced that closing bottle store or supermarket hours a little bit earlier is going to make a huge bit of difference either. Most bottle stores are only open till 9 or 10 anyway. There's not that many that are open till 11. So the difference between 9 and 10 isn't all that much. But the thing with local alcohol policies is it all needs to sync up. So what if our neighbouring councils don't adopt the same thing? It means if someone runs out of booze at 9:30 p.m, actually they're only 20, 30 minutes away from, Kaipoi, Rangiora, and can go to the other council area that is allowing later sales. So,
do you think they're just following Auckland's lead, just kind of blueprinting, taking that and going, well, they did it, we'll do it?
Well, the law's been changed so councils can actually implement a local alcohol policy a lot easier now, which needed to be done. But the levers that councils can actually pull to reduce alcohol harm are very, very limited. You've got a bunch of options, which is you can restrict maybe where liquor stores are or aren't and what time they're opening. But there's very little councils can do about the fact that, pubs and hospitality premises pay all these different levies and taxes and whatnot. but we don't put the same taxes on, RTD, lollywood stuff like Australia does. I ordered some Vietnamese baguettes on my birthday about sort of 10 a.m. and I got a notification on my phone a few seconds later from Thirsty Liquor or something. Hey, would you like to add on, alcohol with your order? And it's 10 in the morning. So councils can tinker around with these things, but until central government actually, shows some leadership in cracking down on alcohol itself rather than cracking down on pubs and bars and whatnot like it did, 13 years ago, we're really limited. So we're sort of looking at what options we actually do have available to us.
Yeah, because it's pretty mixed reaction from what I have seen. The 9 p.m. cutoff in the public survey with just over half supporting it. But what do you say to those that feel this could hurt, your local businesses and just shift the problem somewhere else?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. One concern I have is it wasn't that long ago. Supermarkets, a lot of them used to be open till midnight. Or 11 p.m. Most of our supermarkets now only open till 9 o'clock, some of them 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if we restrict these sales, I suspect some supermarkets will then just say, well, you know what, bugger it, we'll close at 9 instead of 10. And, that wouldn't actually be a great outcome either. So... Well,
that's happened in Auckland, Andrei. We've right.
Yep,
a couple of supermarkets, a couple of big ones and close to the city, decided they'd suddenly shut at 9 o'clock. And I thought it was, they didn't send out any press releases, but I think it was because personally they just didn't want to deal with people coming in at 9:15 going, why can't I have a bottle of wine? And then the fight ensues. They've got enough to deal with people walking out with trolleys of food. So they probably thought it was just one more thing they didn't want to deal with. And then that's another, and then that's another hour off. Like you said, I remember in Auckland, most of them used to open till 11 o'clock, definitely in the weekends, and now they're all shutting at 9 and 10. 10 o'clock's the latest you'll find a supermarket.
And it's hard. It's hard for people who finish work late.
Yeah, exactly. It seems there's a few weird proposals in there, Andrei, that I didn't kind of went. One about no new nightclubs near schools, and I thought, what club is club is open during school hours, or what school is open at 1 a.m?
Well, this is kind of the question I've asked. Sort of, what problem are we trying to fix here?
Yes.
So, with the plan that we initially put the survey out on had a whole lot more, much more bizarre things than that. So most of those are now being ruled out. But we've got sensitive sites, so not having bottle stores or anywhere that sells alcohol within between 50 and 200 metres of a sensitive site. Now, sensitive site included things like schools, addiction facilities. It also included places of worship at one point, which is where it starts to get really, really, really mucky. That's been removed now, so we're just talking about schools and addiction facilities. Problem is, we've got a few late-night establishments in Christchurch, including a couple of live music venues. They happen to be near the School of Tourism and the UB College, so they would fall under a sensitive site.
Oh, well, that's just silly, isn't it?
Yeah, so we can start getting into ruling areas in and out.
Yeah.
But I'm not aware of taverns or nightclubs opening up near schools in parts of Christchurch that are actually being an issue. So I'm not sure exactly what problem we're trying to fix, and maybe we could look at that. If for some reason those kinds of things start popping up around the city, around schools, then okay, we can relook at the policy. But I'm not sure why we would be bothering including hospitality venues at this point. So I've got an amendment next Wednesday around that. I think the focus should just be on off licences, and that is where the overwhelming majority of harm does come from.